Greetings everyone and welcome back to Factorio, where in the last episode we expanded out our factory a little bit. We laid down some much needed defenses and we began to flesh out our bus over here. We're currently working on green science, so we've unlocked a whole new branch of science that's going to be available to us as we build up what is effectively a bootstrap base. What we're going for here is not a particular design that will last us into the end of the game, or indeed even into the mid of the game, but rather just something that can get us some necessary early technologies so that we can then continue down. And the most important one for me is getting to trains. We have got a world here that is specifically designed to encourage long distance logistics, and indeed that will factor into the way that I build my base. I'm unlikely to have a central production area, though, you know, a mall notwithstanding, and for those of you who aren't familiar with Factorio, a mall is kind of a place where you make things specifically for you to go and pick up. So, you know, weapons, ammo, some building materials, that sort of stuff, but not really for use in the base itself. But we are probably going to be setting up a couple of things in this episode and expanding a couple of the things that we've got going. We definitely need to get stone expanded out, as we are going to want to get stone and or some things onto the main bus. In fact, we're definitely going to have to set up a little area around here somewhere to smelt down stone, because that's the next thing we want to do. We want to get some walls up and running, because until we get those, we're in a bit of a pickle, honestly. So to that end, I am going to go ahead. Oh, no. Don't give me that. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to completely rejig this little area here. Let's grab all of that. Also pick up the stone off the ground and just move all of these aside. That's going to make mining this area out a little bit easier. Now, how close are we on our power? Ooh, that is actually a little bit closer than I would like, if I'm perfectly honest. Let's go ahead and grab some plates. And how many we got? We'll go for sure. We'll throw caution to the wind and we'll make another 6 steam engines and 3 boilers. That will help us a lot. That will require that we expand out our coal mining as well. So I'm probably going to start laying down some much better situated mine setups. Right now, everything is a bit of a hodgepodge. Again, it's just to get me to the point where we can start manufacturing trains, and then we're going to start laying down some more permanent installations. Now, one of the things that a lot of people have been commenting on in the the comments themselves is that I can click on splitters, and to be fair, I knew that this was the case, but I was a massive derp and I'd forgotten. I say forgotten. I'm not practiced at thinking about it. This is one of those things that got added between the last time that I was playing Factorio a lot and regularly and now. But we can not only dictate what the input priority on a splitter is, but the output priority as well. So we can tell the splitter, and you might be able to see there's a tiny little arrow there telling us that it is prioritizing one side over the other. So this is a way to ensure that this gets as much coal as it can get until that's full, and then it'll start coming down here. Now, you may be wondering, well, why is some of the coal going down here still then? Well, that's because it actually does matter which side of the belt this is on. So this coal right there is on the left side of the belt, and the left side of this belt is full. So the only place that left side of the belt coal can go is to the left belt leading out of the splitter. Confused? Yeah, a little bit as I am as well. English is a clunky language at the best of times, but I hope that has been near enough for you to understand what I was talking about. We're going to need to grab an extra pipe as well, as I feel that we're going to want to make sure that we have a decent amount of room between all of these. Now we want some steam engines. There, and indeed there and there as well. And then finally, let's just hook all of this up to the power network. That'll do wonderfully. Now, I'm going to need a couple of... Oh, I don't have any coal burners. I believe I do have them set up down here, though, so we'll go and grab those and then head back up yonder. Ooh, our defenses down here are getting a bit clobbered, though. Well, it's only electronic circuits and gear wheels. I may want to set up the manufacture of repair kits. In fact, I really do want to set up the manufacture of repair kits. This seems like a necessary one for me. You know what? We could easily just squeeze something like that in here. Well, maybe not quite there. Honestly, let's actually put it off the main bus. So we'll take care of that one first. Let me grab the burner inserters so that I do at least have a stack of those ready when I want to go past. And on that note, let's also, because I'm going to be finicky about it, let's just set up the manufacture. In fact, we don't even need that one. The manufacture of the filter inserters as well. I wasn't going to do this, but well, we may as well. Let's go ahead and grab filter inserter. There we go. And do we have a spare chest? We do. We'll use an iron chest for this one. There we are. And we can just have those offload into there. Once again, though, we don't need that many, and we'll restrict it to 2 full boxes. I think that should be fine. Now, we could... could we fit this in? No, it's a little bit too tight, but I'm going to commit the cardinal sin here. There are lots of people who play Factorio a lot who are, at this present moment, wincing because they've got an inkling of what I'm about to do. They're hoping that I won't, but they kind of know. Their deepest, darkest fears have been realized, and I am actually pulling straight off the main bus. This is heresy, depending on who you talk to. But again, bootstrap base, I don't care. To be honest, I wouldn't have cared anyway. In fact, maybe I'd have done it more for knowing that it was going to make people's brains itch. But there we go. That's all set up, and we'll now have some repair packs being made as well for us. That's actually going to be quite useful. But we really, really do need to get the walls set up because we're having to repair these devices a lot more than we realistically want to. Right. Okay, so back up here. Let's go ahead and extend out our coal supply some. All the way up and then back around and all the way back down. There we go. And we can just rotate that one and then pop down the burner inserters. Sorted. But at this point, we really, really do need to take care of our power down here. So let's go ahead and do that by first pulling up all of the miners and actually setting about this in a more focused way. And for a second, I'm going to have to shut down the power. So let's create a stopgap connection. About there will do. In fact, let's take this all the way across just so that we can hook it up over here and then pull all of this away. That gives us the most room to play with. In fact, let's move the radar down as well. There we go. Okay, so one of the ways that I like to build out my my miners, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can either be ultra dense and no matter how little resources that are available, just go for it and try and gather from that area, in which case you do something like this and you just draw these out, and as long as they can be placed, because you can't place them if there's nothing there for them to mine, then you just completely strip that area as fast as you possibly can. Bearing in mind that a miner drill will stop drawing any power and will stop mining if it runs out of space to offload its content onto the belt. It doesn't have an internal storage like the burner drills did. The other way is you can be much more space efficient, and instead you can do something along these lines and actually space them out 2 apart. Actually, I only spaced them out 1 apart back there. But you're making use of the fact that they can draw from a much wider area overall. So you'd have something like this. And honestly, either way is valid. It's entirely up to you which one you prefer. We'll just finish this one off on that side. There we go. Now, initially, this is going to have a fairly nasty power drain on the system, simply because we're going to be pulling a lot of different machines online, and these aren't exactly cheap machines to power to begin with, so it may be a little bit of a potch, but it should be okay. We'll pop this one down there just to connect the lines up. There we go. Now these have all stopped, as I mentioned. They can't keep going if they can't connect. Oh, actually, we should run this up from the bottom so that we're connecting it up a little bit better. But they can't keep running if they have nowhere to output the coal. Let's just bring all of this down here. I mean, It's going to be a bit of a mess no matter what we do, I suppose. We'll go ahead and we'll make well, if we do this, then we've got to contend with all of that space as well, which is none of it is particularly good. We'll just leave it as it is. We don't really need to worry about it too much. Now, one of the problems with having the miners a little bit further out is that you do have to address that they are 2 tiles apart there. But that's not really the worst thing in the world. On this side, I guess we could just bring it up and around, just have it wrap around instead to save a little bit of space. There we go. And done and done. Now, again, this is initially going to draw quite a lot of power to run because we do have a lot of space on the belts, but once these are all backstuffed, then the drills will stop pulling quite as much power. We do have a fair bit of overhead now, so we're not in as bad of a position. But as I mentioned in the end of the last episode, kind of want to make sure that we don't get caught off guard back here if we can avoid it. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we're going to have another little turret group just over here to protect from any shenanigans. Something like this. There we go. And 4 turrets. Nice and easy. Very, very simple to set up. Do we have enough ammo? Well, we don't really, but that'll hold for now. Okay, so there we go. We've massively expanded out our mining. As a general rule, I tend to go for compression of the miners and just try to get as many of them as I can in the space, and I'll just work my way through that resource patch that little bit faster. But you know, your mileage may vary, and if you want to run more of a green base with less of a massive target on it for the biters to take exception with, then you may want to have the miners spread out. Yes, you'll get the resources slower, but you won't anger the natives quite as much, and there's quite a lot to be said about that, I'll be honest. Let's just draw this down, that way I can get rid of these as well. We're going to set up much the same mining drill setup down here, probably just going from this side straight across. There we go. Now the only issue with this is that unfortunately I can't get behind the miners now to lay down those power lines, but that should be okay, I suppose. There we go, that'll do. And over here, if only these were a bit larger, these power poles, then this would be amazing, but alas, they are not. We can, however, connect them up there. I'll just use some underground belts. It's kind of a very expensive use of my underground belts there. You can make a much more, a much cheaper connection than that, but it's fine. I don't mind for now. There we go. Right, so we've got to have a lot of stone being drawn out. We are not going to be using this stone nearly as much as we're able to mine it, but that's fine. And I'll draw this along as well. Right, now we've got electric poles, and these... You cannot get away from wooden electric poles fast enough, in my opinion. But what are we going to be researching next? I'm immediately going to go and set up some manufacture for that. I think piercing rounds. We need to up our damage game quite a lot, actually. So hopefully we can get that going as well. Let's pop this down. We'll just have that live but there for now. Right, okay, we're going to go and set up the electric poles. We desperately want those being made automatically. That will free us from a lot of tedium. And in fact, once we've got those kinds of electric poles, a lot of things change because they've got much larger range. Okay, so we effectively want 2 types of electric poles. We want both the big electric poles and the medium electric poles, and they have exactly the same components, it's just in larger quantities. We need iron sticks. What is required for an iron stick? 1 plate makes 2 iron sticks. And this is actually a good point to speak about something else that was pointed out to me. And it's quite a good bit of advice, I've got to be honest. And it's not something I really thought about too much in the past. But a good kind of litmus, a good... Look, I'm going to make them out of iron. I'm that chaotic right now. Okay, I'm just waiting for the world to burn. But a good way of deciding if something should go on the belt or not is how much it compresses a raw resource. Iron sticks and copper cables take one plate of the relative material and then expand it into 2 items. So they would actually take more space up as the end product than they take up as the raw resource. So it's better not to put things like that on the belt. But iron gear takes 2 iron plates to make 1 iron gear. So that is actually, strictly speaking, quite a good return. You're literally halving the amount of space you need on the belt for that resource to compress it. Electronic circuit, much the same, takes 1.5 copper plate and 1 iron plate, and you end up with an electronic circuit. So that was actually a really, really good bit of advice there, and I hadn't really thought about it that way before. So thank you very much for the tip on that. I will bear that in mind in the future as I'm deciding what I'm going to be placing where. Now we're going to need some iron. Well, we'll want steel and copper down this side, I imagine, and then iron pipes on this side. Now, how much do we get? We get 2 per. How fast can we manufacture these? Honestly, it doesn't really matter. No, it really doesn't matter that much to me. I think possibly 2 of these will be good enough for me. Let's pop these down, something like that. And then let's grab these. These will be able to output 4 every second, which is enough to make 1 full medium electric pole, well, every 0.5 seconds, or 1 big electric pole every second. And that is more than fast enough for me. Let's do something along these lines. In fact, I could just have them run along here. And then we could have the old splitter trick, actually, and have much the same effect as we have over by our smelting stacks. Something along these lines would do quite nicely, I think. There we are. And we can just offload these pipes there, and bring in the iron that we're going to be needing right there. Perfect. Okay, so now we just need to lay all of this out. And there we go. We are now automatically preparing some larger power poles. And I will go ahead and quickly demonstrate the difference between them. It's going to take just a few moments for this one to load up. And in fact, I've got a couple of things that I can do in the meanwhile as well. One of those is that, well, actually, let's, you know what, let's pop all of these down there. I really should tidy up my inventory a little bit, shouldn't I? Yes, I should. Let me pop, well, let's pop the, nah, damn it. Let's pop these in the right spot. It's nice to have these available. I am going to be using burner inserters so infrequently, I'm not going to have them on my hotbar. There's really no point. But I will have an instance of everything else. Right, there we go. We've got enough of the poles. Let me quickly demonstrate the difference between them. Do we need to repair? Yes, we do. Let me quickly go and do that then before I do anything more. Let's also pop these down on my hotbar so it's easier for me to get to. There we go. Right. Okay, so you're already familiar with the humble electric pole. Well, basically, these are better versions of it. Now, this one is a 5x5 area. This one is a 7x7 area. Now, one of the nice things about this is that between 2 power poles, you can have 2 spaces. But that's true of the 7x7 as well. So you can very quickly extend out and reach much, much greater distances using these ones than the basic power poles. But that isn't the be-all, end-all. In all other ways, these power poles are exactly the same. This one is a little bit different, though, because it's got a 4x4 area, which you might be wondering, well, that's kind of weird. But the difference between the big electric power pole is I think it's something like 15 or maybe even 30 tiles. I forget the exact number. Yeah, there we are. Wire reach 30. These can travel enormous distances. So they're not really useful for providing power to devices, but they are very good for covering large distances where you might otherwise not easily be able to. For that reason, we will go ahead and we'll... that's a bit of a shame. The current layout doesn't quite allow these to be in the right spot. You know what I can do, though, to make that work? It's a very simple fix to this little design. We can instead pop these on the outside of these guns. There we go. And this way, even got more guns at the front than we got at the back. Perfect. But this is a good candidate for just demonstrating that. You do not need one of those to cover that. But it's a good demonstration all the same. But there we are. That should work for now. But anywhere where we've got very large power poles, like for example over here, this is a perfect candidate for these power poles. Though it would help if I had more in my inventory, wouldn't it? I need to pave this so I can run quickly. Or get robot legs. One or the other. Would honestly, I favor the robot legs, but you know, right. So with this, we should be okay for a little bit of time. Now we have completed military, so let's start work on the next thing we want to go for. I could go for automation too, but I'm kind of feeling that advanced materials processing would be kind of useful. That being said, we want to get to trains pretty quickly, so we're gonna go for engines. We are gonna make a beeline for train tech. As quickly as we possibly can. Once again, up here, we'll just pop one of those down and then hook this up. There we are. And done and dusted. Perfect. Over here, it's going to be even more of a benefit for us. No biter attacks on this side as yet, which is actually quite nice to see. Very nice to see indeed. Though it does make me a little bit worried because there is going to be an attack sooner or later. But there we are. We are already seeing some of the miners running out of coal. That's actually a good thing to notice. Now, have a quick look at this. Yeah, we're doing fine. Okay, so over here, once again, I do want the stone on the belt, but I'm kind of thinking that we're going to want bricks on the belt as well. So on the main bus, that is. One line of each, I guess, would do. So that means we're going to need a little smelting stack over here. Something not something particularly large. We can happily do with something along these lines, I would say. I think that would actually be a little bit better. Actually, let's see if we can't design this a little bit better still for using the larger electric poles. Let's see, something like this. And if we pop that in there, yeah, we can have them all connected like that. That'll actually be a lot nicer. So we'd have something like this, tunk, and then something like that on this side as well. Now it can all output onto a single belt running straight down the middle. We are going to want coal and stone on this side. And we are going to have to move the pipes more than likely. Yeah, we are definitely going to have to move the pipes. That's a little bit of a shame, but it's not too terrible, all things considered. Let's grab the inserters. There we go. That'll do. Nice and easy. Like, well, actually, I guess we could just have the... No, I think we're going to have the coal going out on the outside. We're going to have to move the piping around a little bit, though. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's just quickly disconnect that. Make a little bit more room for ourselves. There we go. And we'll probably pop it out in that corner. Pop that in there. I almost certainly need to get pipes manufactured automatically. Frankly, it's kind of silly that I haven't already done that. There we go. And over here should be good enough for us. Perfect. There we are. Right. Okay. So on this side, we'll have... No, actually, I kind of like the idea of the product being put on the outside simply because these are small stacks. We don't need the kind of throughput of having the belts on the outside. I think we're fine with having a single belt supplying two sides of the inserters. So just, well, half a belt of stone and half a belt of coal supplying all 8 factories rather than effectively a full belt of coal and a full belt of stone supplying them. That should be fine for us. Now, how are we going to hook this one up? Well, we've got... let's balance this. Let's get an even output over here. There we go. And in we are. Sorted. Let's bring the coal down along the top, I'm thinking. Yeah, we'll bring the coal down along the top here. Something along these lines would do. About there. We should be able to just bring one line of the stone along. Like that. Have the coal just curve around and then run straight down. There we go. Now, each one of the bricks is going to require 5 stone to manufacture. And the stone itself then go across and join up to the main bus. Now, I'm probably going to require both brick and stone to be on the main bus, if I'm honest. And that should be fine. We should be able to make enough room for that. Now, the reason why I'm taking the opportunity to bring the stone along is because we are ultimately setting up this little base to ready us for the production of rails, and that's going to require stone. Let's go ahead and grab these. We can move them down a little bit. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Nice and easy. Perfect. And then this can slide all the way back here. Now, the bricks are required for making the walls, but the stone is going to be required largely for making rails. There are a couple of other things that will be useful for, namely the smelters, the furnaces themselves. So that'll be a decent one for us to grab there. Let's bring you down all the way. And then we can have these both just join up there and run along. And that should be a fairly nice little belt for us there. Perfect. Done and dusted. There we go. Right, we will put our production of... Oh, actually, this would make more sense to do it that way, really. We'll put our production of furnaces back up over here, though honestly, we're probably not going to need many more than we already have. So I may delay that being set up for a little bit, but we are going to want to get a couple of other things going in the very near future. Namely, we are going to want to start production of steel furnaces. For obvious reasons, much like many of the upgraded versions of anything. For example, the upgraded assembly machines, they can craft faster. They craft a little bit more efficiently as well. I believe they produce... Oops. They produce less pollution for any particular amount of crafting that they do. Let's have a quick look. In fact... should we go for automation too? What does that unlock next? I mean, it does unlock a couple of things, and it unlocks concrete, which would be very, very nice for us. Fluid wagons with advanced material processing gives us the steel furnace, and is also a requirement for concrete. Sure, we could go for that one, I think. Let's go ahead and start researching that. This one's going to be a big upgrade for us because it will massively reduce the amount of pollution that we're producing. Or at least I believe it greatly reduces the pollution. But it definitely speeds up the smelting, if nothing else at all. Okay, now that we have that going, let's go ahead and have a look at what's going to be required for the walls. We need just 5 stone bricks. Well, that should be easy enough for us to do. Let's go ahead and place something up here. We're going to want a decent amount of these, I'm going to say. So, sure, we'll do something like this. We are going to want a lot of these being manufactured. So let's have something along these lines. There we are. And is this enough room between? Yes, perfect. We'll want the bricks coming all the way up, being dragged off the line. Here, 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 and here. And I'm going to need to go and grab myself some more basic inserters. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not using the fast inserters. They consume significantly more power. Also, I was a massive derp, and I should have had that restricted to one chest only, but oh well. They consume a significantly larger amount of power. If you have a look at that, the minimum consumption isn't actually that much more than the basic inserter. It's only 100 watts more, but the basic inserter at maximum throughput will only pull 13.6 kilowatts, but the fast inserter will pull 46.7. So realistically, there are going to be very few places where we're going to want to use those. This is one of the biggest exceptions, because we actually kind of want these to be able to fill these chests and indeed unload them faster than the belts around them can move the product. That will result in the chests actually being filled up a little bit faster. And should there be a drop in supply along the belt, it'll be able to unload that buffer that little bit faster as well. There we go. Let's just shift this out of the way. There we are. And then we can have a splitter in there as well. And boom, there we go. That should be wonderful. And we'll have all of this delivered onto these belts and then collected in a box right at the end. What kind of box? You know what? This time we'll make it steel. I can't be evil all the time. It's very, very tiring. There we go. And that's all we need. Right, now just to pop in a little bit of power. Actually, there and here would be ideal. Alas. Well, I suppose I could just move it around a little bit. Look, it makes everything so much more convenient for me. There we go. I know it's not symmetrical, but it doesn't need to be. There we go. Now we just need to hook that up to power. Should be easy enough done. Right. Set up some walls. Perfect. Ah, damn it. I'm going to need you to have some power as well. A little thorn in my side. That'll do. Okay, so we're going to have walls building up. It's going to take us a while to get enough for us to actually lay these down, but that shouldn't be a big problem. One of the next things that we can do as well while we're waiting is upgrade our ammo production. Right now, we are making firearm magazines. The effect is 5 damage plus a 0.5 physical. So, well, I guess that 5 damage is universal damage, and then 0.5 is purely physical. I'm not entirely sure about that one. But the piercing rounds do 3 base damage more and 0.3 more physical. They require 1 firearm magazine to construct and 1 steel plate and 5 copper plates, but they take 3 times as long to make. So they're not cheap, certainly, but they are extremely useful. Let's get all of that out of the way. We're going to move all of this down along here. We're going to need both copper and steel and iron plates to make this happen. And somewhere around here, I'm thinking we're going to need some more. We're going to need some more protection as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and set that protection up, shall we? I think we probably should. Plonk this down around here. There we go. And then a little defensive. Sorry, a little power pole there, so we can hook all of this up to power. There we go. And we'll have much the same setup as we had last time. There we go. That should be enough to take care of pretty much everything. There we are. Sorted. Now, you know what? I wouldn't mind having some lights down here. And because I haven't set these up to be automated yet, I'll just pop this one down manually. But there we are. Little beacon in the darkness. Hopefully that will attract the biters a little bit more aggressively than we've been seeing elsewhere. Now, first and foremost, we're going to need... well, each one regular ammo production, ammo magazine assembler will require just a bit of iron, but we'll be able to feed 3 of the piercing ammo manufacturers. So I think that'll be the way that we set this up. Sure, we'll have these in place. And then 1, 2... are we going to be able to stretch this down far enough? I'm not entirely sure. No, just out of range. But that's fine. We can just have them there and it should be okay. There we are. So that'll be all of the ammo there. Brought down. Let's get those in position. Oh, actually, no, we want these the other way around. There we are. Then down the outside, we're going to need steel plates and copper as well. So we're going to want to be able to load the ammo onto a distant belt and then collect that down the bottom, I think would probably be the better way of doing this. There we go. Oh, that's the wrong way around. There we go. And the other way around. Now, if I really wanted to be cheeky and not have to use more power, I could bring this up and have it all gathered here. And I am going to be that cheeky, yes. Go on, we'll use a steel chest. At this point, there is no reason for us to use regular ammo. You may as well just go straight to the piercing rounds at this point. They're that much better. So there's really no reason to continue using the basic once you've got this going. There we are. Now, as for our... I'm thinking we're going to want to split it around here to carry this across. Sure, we should be able to do that. Look, it looks nice, okay? I know it's not an efficient use of my underground belt. I don't care. It looks gorgeous. Form before function, you know me. However, oh, that is the wrong way around. I do love the fact that you can just rotate by pointing at one of them and just flicking the switch there. That is actually pretty useful. Right, there we are. I've got so much stone in my inventory. Yikes. Okay, there we go. And we should just be able to bring down the copper and the steel as needed. Something like this. There we go. Once I can have this automated, once I can have robots to do this for me, oh, it's going to be so much better. Because right now it is a little bit of busy work having to lay these down by memory each time. I can use blueprints just to lay out the pattern for myself if I need the visual aid, but I generally don't. Later on, maybe when we're getting to much more complicated builds. But for the time being, it's just a matter of time that it takes, really, than anything else. We are going to need to increase our copper because we are using that up much too fast at this point. But there we go. What? Oh. Right. Yes, that was a bit of a mistake. My bad. Huh. Let me fix this. Oops. Yeah, my inventory is now full of just random rubbish, but it'll be okay. There we go. For a second there, I was looking at this. Why is that? What? How is that working the way it's working? But no, it's because the long-handled inserters aren't actually doing anything yet. They weren't doing anything wrong. It was my awful design that was doing things wrong. There we go. We want that to bring down the piercing ammo on this side. There we are. And sorted. Done and done. Empty that out. Right, advanced materials processing, complete. Marvellous. Right, what do we need to get for trains then? Railway, we're going to need the logistics level 2. Very well, let's begin that research right away. Okay, piercing ammo being supplied. Where did we just see a fight happening? Wasn't there. If it was there, that's impressive because it managed to kill them all before taking any damage. Okay, can't easily tell, but could be any number of places really. Now that's going to take a little while to start building up a proper stockpile of ammo there, which is a bit of a shame. We are going to need a much larger supply. We aren't going to need more than 400 pieces of ore at a time, or at least I certainly hope we won't. However, I do want to upgrade our armor to heavy armor, because right now we're using light armor, and the difference is quite stark. Explosion is especially stark. It mitigates 10 times as much damage before even the resistance, like the percentage resistance, takes part in it. So that's actually pretty amazing. There we go. Also got to swap this over. There we are. I could, I suppose, just drop off some of this ammo in here. I probably should, just to get it out of my inventory. There we go. They should be able to run for quite some time now. Okay, let's start popping down some walls then. Let's also make sure that these are on my hotbar. They don't have to be particularly thick right now because we're not really dealing with spitters so much. But what we do want to do is we want to restrict access to the cannons. You don't want to completely restrict access to them though. We want the biters to see a viable path to attack. I'll join in with this fight. Ooh, sounds different. I was not aware that the piercing ammo had a different sound. That's actually pretty cool. Let's get all of this fixed up. We want the biters to still try to path to the cannons. If you make them inaccessible, they'll just try to go through the walls. But I don't actually want to have to keep coming back here to repair them all the time. So this will work fine because it's going to encourage them to try and path around all the while they'll be under fire as they go, so that will actually help out. The only other one that we're seeing taking much damage is across here. I really need to sort out our copper. That's going to be one of the next things we work on. I'll drop off my armor there. Don't need that anymore. Steel isn't too terrible. We've already worked through one of the soul mines and many of the iron mines. Yeah, we really need to get advanced logistics up pretty sharpish so that we can start getting out to the more distant outposts, which are a little bit more rich. Honestly, at that position, we may as well connect up. And we'll even make it a double thick wall. There we go. It is still a... Well, I'll make it a little bit wider so the biters do see that as a viable path, but that should be fine for now. What's our pollution like at the moment? It is going to start tickling this biter base soon. This one is still secluded, thanks to, in large part, because of the forest, but that's not going to last over long, I don't think. There are so many of these miners that are now out of commission. That is worrisome. We definitely want to set that up a little bit better, and we probably will in a moment. But let's go and sort out our copper line first. Right now we are not smelting. We don't even have the capacity to smelt as much copper as we do iron by quite a large margin, in fact. But this should help out a little bit. Let's just get the miners sorted, because we've lost almost 50% of the capacity of our miners. Wow, we're working through these nodes pretty quickly. On the plus side, that makes me kind of excited for the for all the train stuff that we're going to be doing later on. Right, okay, well, let's quickly get this place sorted up, much like we've got the other locations. Let's move these around as well. Let's pull all of that down. We should be fine. There we go. And down. And at this point, let's see if we can't connect this up a little bit further down. Well, there we'll do, and then just hook that up like so. That is so much nicer. We are still going to have power up here because we need to power the drills, but for now, should be okay. Let's start on this side. We're just going to go through this as fast as we can. There we are. And all the way down. We can't place anything there. That's fine. Now, the lovely thing is, now that we've got the better electric poles, we are going to be able to access these deposits so much more than we were before. So much more easier than we were before. Let's bring all of this. Oop, that is, well, 1, 2. Sure. We'll have one of them go up and around and then back down again. That's fine. It makes my life a little bit easier in balancing the belts. It doesn't really, but it's fine. There we go. And there we are. That should do quite nicely. And this should get our copper smelting going very nicely. There we are. Pop that one there. Pop another one over there. And at this point, we can have them evenly spaced apart and still hit all of these miners at the same time. And it's going to be glorious. So much neater. And, oh, hello. Well, good timing, I will confess. Very good timing. Right, let's move this up a little bit then. Wonder if we've got enough piercing ammo to make this, to set this up a little bit better. It's about there, okay. I'm a little bit worried that over here is a little bit exposed now, so let's set up 2. One over here, and one a little bit higher up as well. So pop this there. And, you know what, I could quickly showcase how you use blueprints. So you create a blueprint book, right-click on it. You can rename it, so this could be defenses. Hopefully it's spelt with a C and not an S. I always have to worry about that. Bloody dyslexia. Let's go ahead. Oh, there we go. And there we are. A little bit of damage to the wall, but not a whole lot. I'm surprised that they didn't try to go around there, but honestly, a tiny bit of damage to a wall like that is not a great concern. There we go. 181 piercing rounds. I am totally going to leave that down here, not up there. I don't think we need those rounds up top. Let's pop 181 in there, and we are then going to drag all of the basic ammo out of these. There we are. That will make this place significantly more dangerous. That one's actually holding its own for now. I don't think we need to worry over much. But the way you create blueprints used to be you had to have circuits to do it. No longer the case. You can just create the books. You can create the blueprints like so. Boom. There we are. Yeah, sure. This is fine. Firebase version 1. There we are. Nice and simple. Don't need anything more than that. Create blueprint. It's now going to require... Okay. We're gonna edit this one because that will pay me in time. And look, okay, once again, I can only be so evil for so long. We won't use a wooden chest in that, but we can just go in here and select a new content for the blueprint, I believe. There we are, and select this. There we go, and then save. It's now updated with a steel chest in there, and we've placed it into the book. So now we just bring this out. If I had more than one blueprint, then I could rotate through the blueprints that I had. Again, not so much use for this right now, because this is such a simple little design that I don't need a guide on how to build it. But, you know, in the future, that might legitimately become something we need to be concerned about. There we go. I don't think there's any kind of guide in this. So when I'm placing these down, I think I could place things in the wrong spot. If I could put the inserters facing the wrong way. So there's, again, as far as I'm aware, no particular benefit to using the blueprints other than just laying down a guide that you need to follow yourself. All right, well, we don't have a... Oh, I hadn't put the chest down, had I? No, I had not. Very well. Okay, well, we'll pop in some ammo there. I should go and pick up some more ammo, actually, whilst we're on the way. Also, stock up on walls, because we're always going to need more. And how much rounds? Well, 44. That's actually not enough at all. Do we have enough in here? I'll grab some of these for now, just so that we've got the defenses armed. Doesn't matter that they won't have the best ammo yet. We can always improve on that later. And with this design, then we can just we can kind of create a perimeter wall with these, and just connect the little the fire bases themselves. They're kind of like mile castles in a way, and through that we could make this an actual defensible wall. And once we've got gates up and running, then that would be even better. There we go. But yes, everything is slowed down now, unfortunately, as a consequence of the copper issues that we're going to need to address reasonably soon. And in fact, we should probably fix my iron as well, which is lagging behind rather badly. So I suspect that we may have another little building time lapse in, well, more or less now. And there we go. We now have two lines of iron ore. They're not completely compressed, but one is going to the steel area and one is going to our iron area, and that should keep us going for a little while, though I'm already starting to notice some of those miners are running out. We are continually under attack, and I took the liberty of setting up this defensive outpost with some piercing ammo, and generally speaking, things are going too poorly for us right now. Now, I'm probably going to increase the speed that we're researching, because I do want to get to the point that we can start expanding out and taking some of those outposts before we start to really run into material shortages. Yeah, let's go ahead and build 2 new science labs. Now, science labs, much like a couple of the other of other items, are something that I don't really feel that we need a factory for yet, but are probably things that we will eventually want to set up on a factory instead. So just because right now we're not going to probably need more than 6 for what we want to do with the bootstrap base, but eventually we're going to want to continue to expand our science operation as much as our material wealth allows us to. Now, let's go and grab us some more piecing ammo. That is quite nice. 247. I approve. Let's go and pop those down here and swap out these. Because this one is still getting attacked from time to time. So I do want to try and sort that out. There we go. We'll probably see... There we are. Nice. No issues there. I'll grab these. In fact, those are now going to be mine. There we are. That will work quite nicely for us. Okay, so the next thing we want to work on is probably... the production of engines. Now, it's going to require pipes, it's going to require steel, and it's going to require iron gear wheels. That one isn't going to be too bad for us. It's just steel and iron for that one. Is there anything else that we want to get on the go? Well, actually, yeah, kind of. Steel furnaces. If we could replace our smelting setup with steel furnaces, that would be a big help. And since steel and the bricks are right next to us, that won't be too bad. Now, we can also start paving if we really wanted to. I'm not going to use... we have lost power over there. That's a bit bad of me, really. Oh, yes, so we have. My bad. Let me shunt that down a little bit. That's a shame. That would have been very, very nice if we could have gotten all of that working. But, oh, well, I guess we'll just have to do that. And because it's going to annoy me otherwise, you know what I'm about to do. There we go. There. Nice and symmetrical. But there we are. We've got our science back up and running. We could basically pave the area so we could move a little bit faster, but I actually don't think that is necessarily the best idea for us, honestly. We just need 6 steel plates and 10 stone bricks. So this one's going to be a reasonably fast consumer. We can pop it down here. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. We can then have some energy brought along. We will want the bricks to be somewhere around here. Let's first start with getting this up there. There we go. And let's say about there. I think that will do. There we are. And this should... Well, actually, no, we needed it one further back. Damn it. Let's get that out of the way. Otherwise, we're going to cause problems for ourselves. There we go. And then this can all join up right there. Perfect. And with this, we will be able to get a nice little production of steel furnaces. Now, this one does not require the original. So, at this point, the 110 stone furnaces we have, we will probably never need more of. And that's a nice place to be, I suppose, but it's also a little bit of a frustration to just have something there that we can't ever do anything else with. We'll restrict this to just 2 sets, I think should be fine. Also, how's our power? We're doing okay. We've still got about a third left to go. Now, next up then, we want to get those engines on the go. And that also brings us back to pipes, which I kind of did need to automate at some point. So let's go ahead and bring up the iron. Now, it's at this point that this bus is really starting to show its limitations. We have one lane for each type of resource. Hardly enough, realistically speaking, especially for a often used resource like iron or copper. Later on, we're going to need to do something about that, but for now, it should be okay, I think. We will have these around here. We're not going to go for too much in terms of the production here. I think we should be okay with just getting a... Well, let's pop this right there. There we are. We'll just have just one factory for each type of pipe. We're going to need the pipes themselves over here for the 10 iron pipes and iron plates to make the pipe to grounds, and 1 iron plate there. So, well, I guess what we could do then is have something along these lines, I suppose. Yeah, I think we're going to want to extract these onto their own belt as well. In fact, we can do something like this. It's a bit of a hodgepodge. I know, but trust me, it'll work. We'll have that coming up there. There we are. This can gather. We'll have 2 chests. Go on then, I'll make a second wooden one. Pom pom. There we go. And we probably don't want many of these. We definitely don't want a full stack of pipe to grounds. 2 stacks of regular pipes is probably useful for us though. So we'll stick with that. And with that, we will have both of these producing. Now, the nice thing about having this on a belt is since we are going to need those for the engines, we can then just pull those off as well. We just need some iron gears. Now, these take 10 seconds to craft. So, honestly, we could easily have 2 engine factories. But, honestly, the reality there is I don't think we're going to need that much engine production, frankly. So, we'll see. But, now, this is an interesting one. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use a filter inserter here. I'm going to pop that there. And I only want this to pick up pipes. There we go. Now, the thing with this is it does use a fair chunk of power, but it is doing something intelligent with that power, so I don't mind. I'm gonna give it a buy on that one. And over here, we will have engines picked up. The gears will be placed over there. Now, what else did the engines need? They just needed some steel. So, iron and steel on this side, that's fine. We can have a little bit of iron and then steel on the far side. So iron, we could in fact branch the iron off down here if we particularly wanted to, and I see no particular reason not to. So sure, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll just have a little branch there, and then the steel can come up alongside. So about there, we're going to need that, and that actually makes it quite neat and easy for us to get these engines on the go. Oops, there we are. And sorted. Right, want this one to be making gears, this one to be making engines, and then we want those to be extracted into a box. And fine, I'll make another wooden chest. It's the last one that I can make. We don't need more than 1 stack of engines. Like, we really don't need more than 1 stack of engines there. Go on then. Well, I guess we'll have to bring that down there as well. And we should be good to go. There we are. We'll see these moving up. Now, it's going to take a little while for that to fill up, probably because this can easily grab every pipe that is available. In fact, this is a valid one for us to try and pop down a bit of a faster load. In fact, we might even want to go all the way and pop that one down there as well. There we are. That should work quite nicely. This one is in many cases held back by the speed that we're inserting the plates. So there we go. That should work well enough for us. In fact, we could just grab some of these and put them in there, but it's fine. That will eventually start to accrue. Right, logistics 2 is complete, which means that we can now start working on the railway, or we can grab an automobile. And I am going to say, at this stage, it may be worth us grabbing an automobile before we jump into trains. It's also probably well worth us grabbing some of these. But an automobile is going to allow me to go out there and actually smash up some of those biter bases, which is probably something that we should consider doing in the fairly near future. So we're going to grab an automobile before we go for trains, and I think that's going to ultimately help us out quite a lot. Let me grab some more ammo from over here. Whomp. There we are. Quite a lot of ammo. Let's have a look at the map as well. Okay, that is starting to look increasingly reassuring. If that isn't a land bridge, then this is actually quite nice for us. So it'll depend on whether our radar can do another sweep down the bottom, but that's fine down there. We've just got 1 small biter base and 1 small biter base over there. We don't know what's on that side, so I'm actually tempted to build us another radar. It's going to increase the anger of the biters, but I don't mind too much if I'm perfectly honest. Let's go ahead and pop that right there. There we go. That should help out a little bit, and it'll also give us a nice wider sight of this area even when I'm not here. Okay, so automobilism is on the way in the next episode because unfortunately we have run out of time. We are going to be building ourselves a car, and hopefully by the end of the episode also looking to build ourselves our first train and start setting up our first outpost. Our iron supply is down to 143,000. Copper is much lower than that, but we're using it slower. We've got iron over there, 2 million. That is quite a nice one, and a massive copper node over here, considering its very small size. That's actually pretty impressive, I must be honest. We've also got a little bit of iron there. We've got a couple of options. We may even have some copper down there. Yes, we do. Oh, okay. Very, very small little nodes there. Any of these stone, perhaps? Because I haven't seen any more stone, nor have I seen any more coal, which, I'll be honest, worries me a little bit. But we do have some crude oil over there, which may be able to help us, but we are going to have to see if we can uncover any more nodes on the side. But that is going to be the plan for the next episode, getting vehicles, probably wiping out the little biter base to the southeast, because honestly that's a lot more trouble than it's worth leaving there. We're not getting anything out of it. It used to be that that wiping out the biters was a necessary part of the game, because it's how you got certain types of science, but not any longer. So we really don't need to leave them around if they're just causing us trouble. It's actually better to wipe out a small base like that rather than allow it to grow in threat. But overall, I'm pretty happy with our defenses, and I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Once again, I know I could drastically improve the production, and maybe I'll do that off camera just to extend out that smelting stack, but we're not going to really put much more effort into the base as it is. Once we have got the production of locomotives and rails all automated, we are going to start setting up some discrete operations outposts, so mining and fabrication. We will have a place that smelts certain types of ores, a place that mines certain types of ores, then delivers them to where they get manufactured into certain types of finished good, so on and so forth. And we've got a little attack there, and as you can see, those piercing rounds are putting in some work, because they annihilated that entire wave before they even got to the walls, and we're starting to see that over there as well. So that was a reasonable upgrade for us. We will probably, though, still upgrade our shooting damage and shooting speed in the next episode as well. But that is going to be it from me. I really do hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you in the next, but until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.